Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Reckless Paradise podcast. I am your host, Dystro, and welcome to the final episode of 2024. At the time of this recording, it is December 26th, if I can get that right, and it is the final episode of the Reckless Paradise podcast in 2024. We are still continuing this podcast no matter what, but it's the end of, I guess, of guess good, shitty year. I don't know. Shitty for most of us, probably some good for us. But to end on this high note of the 2024, I guess let's just do a little bit of a recap of 2024. I guess starting with January, February, and March. I guess it wasn't. It was a hard start to the year for little Miss Marissa here. Um, she had gotten sick. She had just been through the ringer. And just she was just so done with getting sick. Also, if I'm like kind of getting out of breath a little bit, it's just because I'm trying to like make sure that this. I guess my breathing is trying to like catch up with me and all that stuff. So I really do apologize for that. But nonetheless, yeah, January was a good start to the month, I guess, for me a little bit. I had just celebrated at that time 2 years, being with my job, my current job that I have right now. Next month will be, three years, with that job, which yay me. Um, but yeah, she just just didn't really have the best start to 2024 with getting sick not once but twice within 2 months. Going into February, she she was just kind of just not miserable, but she was just kind of just done with love, I guess, for the most part. Um, but then like I was like just making sure that she was good, she was healthy, kind of. No, just checking up on her, just as friends do. And then going into March, she she had gotten sick again, which bless her a little hard for that, but yeah, it's just one of those things. But then my income income tax return had came in January, and I was trying to save up for my trip to Marissa's for Marissa's birthday in June, which we'll get to later on down the line here. So let's talk about, I guess, April. So April comes around, and not really much has happened in terms of like big stuff, but June comes around, and this is where I go see Marissa for the second time. Um, to go see her for her birthday, and we had a good time. Some things were out of my control in that moment, which I don't really want to get into here. But long story short, like some things have fucked up on my end, and Booking.com's in, so fuck Booking.com. um, but then I was like halfway through my third almost going into my third year with my job, which is kind of cool as well. Um, but yeah, we had a good time at for Marissa's birthday party. I wish I could have gone to see her for the fair, but that was when she had gotten back together with her former ex, and I I didn't really respect the decision, but I had to respect her because out of the goodness of my heart, and just trying to be there for her if anything happens. So like long story short, it's like, yeah, like she had gotten back together with her ex. And then August comes around. I'm still in Florida. I'm still in Florida. Kind of just vibing, Marissa and her ex, and some of our mutual friends were at the fair and all that stuff. She didn't really go much this year, due to some weather conditions, and kind of some things that were out of their control at that moment too. Like for example, like the when in I think the last shoot the shit in August, there were some things that there was a thing that she wanted to go to, but they couldn't go because of like the bandstand was too super far away for people to see, and there was like some things that wrestlers didn't like show up and all that stuff, so it's like she didn't really go and all that stuff, but it was like a waste of money, like waste of a ticket and all that stuff too. Um, but yeah, she didn't really have a good fair year this year, which sucks. But we move on. Then let's see. Kind of talking about, I guess, October in our lives. I guess. She had went out trick or treating with said ex, and had brought her sisters along and all stuff. They had a good time. And then that was where like some things had started to fall off the rails a little bit. It's basically kind of like a shoot the shit episode, but basically just recapping our own individual 2024s here. Um, I had a good time with on Halloween. Just kind of like went to my boss's house and we kind of played video games. We kind of like we didn't really dress up or anything. I didn't really dress up. Like me and Marissa, I think like had different things going on. She went out trick or treating, like I said, trick or treating, like I said. But then there was where some things started to fall off the rails. Because then she had got diagnosed with bipolar disorder, which is kind of sucky. And then some other things just kind of snowballed into current day now. She had recently kind of broke off from said ex and now is kind of like trying to focus on herself, trying to focus on her own self health and all that stuff. She's starting to get back to her normal self, which is good. I'm glad for her. But in terms of wrestling stuff, though, that's like more my forte. We had the Rumble, which was kind of cool this year. Cody, winning it back to back, 2 years in a row, which is kind of cool. Kind of figured that would be the end game here. Um, WrestleMania this year was kind of boring. No, believe it or not, some friends kind of agree with me on that. I went to, oh god, I'm trying to think. It was like I went to, I think a GCW. I think I went to two GCW shows this year. I was gonna go to another one this month, but I couldn't go because of money issues, which was, I mean, that's out of my control. I was gonna go to the AEW World's End pay-per-view this weekend, but that's also out of my control because I don't really have that much money to spend, so I don't want to really like do that. Um, but yeah, but kind of also in terms of music, Marissa has been listening to some Chevelle, which is kind of interesting because next year Chevelle is gonna be coming out with another album, which is kind of cool. I don't really know how to, I guess, go about that. I haven't really listened to a lot of Chevelle's stuff, which I should. I know I'm doing a huge disservice to the music community here. Um, but mostly this like episode as a whole is kind of just about Marissa's kind of like shitty year. This is like the recap of Marissa's shitty year. But for me, my whole 2024 was just nothing but just like mainstream, like just borderline, like kind of not boredom, but just playing video games and kind of just keeping my stride, kind of just keeping to myself. But just I was just sitting from afar and just watching my closest friend of like almost, yeah, 4 years next year, kind of just taking the huge like roller coaster ride of her own life, and it kind of sucks because like I'm not really there to keep kind of be there for her to like pet her head and just be like, hey, like, everything's gonna be okay. But it's one of those things where it's just I just don't know what to say sometimes. but I know she's doing better, which is a good thing, which I'm happy for her that she's doing better. After this recording, we're going to be playing some Forza 5, which is kind of cool because we've been trying to like get back on kind of a routine for a few months now. She had just kind of been focusing on, pleasing her boyfriend, now ex at the time. Just kind of make sure that he's good and trying to make sure that she's good. But after that, like she was just we weren't just doing a lot of anything. Like we would always have like maybe one or two conversations, that's it. But um this whole 2024 has just been enough of like ups and downs for her. um just as a person, she's got her own mental health issues, she's got her own health issues. Like her father had just got diagnosed with cancer, and she's trying to like make sure that she's got her own good relationships with her mom and her dad and her sisters. And it's just like a whole bunch of like shit. And just like it's like God just literally just went and just shat on her. Hopefully next year will be a good year for her, I hope. But here's to the future, I guess. But I know, sorry, this episode's kind of short. I know it's kind of like, like usually like we do like 15, 20 minutes and stuff like that, but it's kind of like if if whatever, like just a recap of like all of whatever happened in our 2024s and all that stuff. It's not really too much to write home about. I don't have any like exciting stories or anything, and she doesn't either. Um, but with that being said, thank you very, very much for listening and or watching and making it to the very end. We really do appreciate it. Please follow us on all social medias and a link tree in the description below, which will take you to our Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Reddit page, this YouTube page, my gaming YouTube page, which currently I'm trying to get to 1,500. I am very, very close. I'm like 7 subs away, if not maybe a little bit more than that. Trying to get to 1,500 by the end of this year. If I don't make it to the end of this year, it's okay. It's no problem. There's always next year. We've got 12 more months to go. But also, my song of the night tonight is Chevelle, and it is The Red. I know Marissa will probably thank me for that one. I guess a little bit more of a side note here. I really do appreciate you guys for all the love and support that you've had for this channel and for this podcast for the remainder of this year. We've had to do like a big, huge change earlier this year, since Marissa had kind of like not done the podcast anymore due to her father's her to due to her father's um, personal health issues and all that stuff. He is doing way better, which is good. But let's just continue to keep that positive mindset. And thank you so much for being with us on this ride through this momentum changing era, I guess. And I've kind of grown into my own as a podcaster. It is still kind of jarring to just to not to speak to another person, kind of like bounce things off of, which is still kind of getting used to, but that's all right. But yeah, I really do thank you guys for being on this journey with us, and I will see you in 2025. Peace and happy New Year, guys.